Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. It's a very inspirational slok from Bhagavad Gita. One of the most inspirational slow verses we will discuss today. So let us start. I'm going to start our Bhagavad Gita discussion, chapter number 2, text number 40. This should inspire us the most in our path of bhakti. Yes, Milind Prabhu will do kirtan as per your instruction, but I'm just giving introduction. So try to memorize this shloka and always remember the meaning. We'll never become discouraged in bhakti. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Madhava Kunj Bihari Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we're going to start now. We are discussing from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 2, text number 40. The shloka is there? Please chant after me. This shloka should be memorized by all the devotees if you want to survive in Krishna consciousness. In the sense, it is so inspirational. No matter how difficult our situation is in devotional service at a particular point of time, We should always remember this shloka and go forward in Krishna consciousness. So please chant after me. Nehabhi kramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya त्रयते महतो भया नेहाभिक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भया नेहाभिक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. Okay, please chant. आप एक रुक जाओ, बीमारी निकल. ऐसे क्यों बोल रहे हैं आप? नेहाभिक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. You have to chant the second line again. See, this is already written in api asya, but when you chant apyasya. Please again chant. No. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Yes. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahayito bhayat. Somebody want to chant? Oh. Nehabhikramanashosti प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. See, this chanting also is purifying. Just like Hare Krishna mantra is purifying our mind, chanting the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita are also mantras. They are directly spoken by the Lord. Think about that. This shloka has all the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita which are spoken by the Lord are directly coming out from his lotus mouth. So when we are chanting Hare Krishna, it is pleasing him so much. Elsewhere it is mentioned, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is not different from Krishna himself. Same, holy name is not different from Krishna. So let us understand the meanings, word meanings. Na, there is not. Iha, in this yoga. Abhikrama, in endeavoring. Nashaha, loss. Asti, there is. Pratyavayaha, diminution. Na, never. Vidyate, there is. Swalpam, a little. Api, although. Asya, of this. Dharmasya, occupation. Trayate, releases. Mahataha, from very great. Bhayat, danger. Translation: in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear, which is gliding to hell or going to lower species of life. So let us understand the meaning. Na iha. Iha means this. Can you see the word na iha in neha? Neha is sandhi of na and iha. Na iha. Iha means this. Na iha abhikrama. Iha plus abhikrama is neha bhikrama. You know this much of Sanskrit, sandhi? Abhikram means gradual steps, going 1, 2, 1, 2. That's called kram. So abhikram means that we are trying to endeavor or make a march in any yoga process. Especially this Nishkam Karma Yoga is taught by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, and Prabhupada is taking it as Bhakti Yoga, which are both correct. So they are saying Neha Bhikrama na nasho asti. Nasho asti. Na iha abhikrama nashasti. That means in these endeavors, in this dharmas, endeavors, there is no nash. There is nothing, whatever you are endeavoring, your endeavors can never be destroyed. So basically there are no failures in bhakti. There are no failures. Only thing is we stop trying. It has been told interestingly by Winston Churchill also. There are no failures. People stop trying. But he was speaking in material context. But in bhakti, whatever a person has done, will remain always to his eternal credit. You understand this point? So that's why we can put Tulsi Devi. I don't know where to put. You can put here. I can see everybody just coming in. You can put here next to me in the right side. That's much better. Yeah. So this is very encouraging for us because Mahaprabhu also himself says, Krame krame sei bhakta hoi be uttam. Everybody starts as a neophyte devotee. He can't even properly chant Hare Krishna mantra in the beginning, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram. He cannot even chant that. I could see that yesterday when I was preaching to one person. It was difficult for him to figure out what is the Hare Krishna mantra. But then, as you keeps on practicing, all the credits of bhakti are increasing. I will only map it to bhakti. Pratyavayo na vidyaten is also not that there is some diminution. It's not that somebody is not practicing bhakti, then his bhakti is finished, it will get diminished. Diminished, you understand? It deplete or decrease. It will not happen. It might get covered over, that's a fact, for some time, but again it will manifest. Just like example is given, bathua. This is a vegetable called bathua sag. So if that is planted in the soil in the summer season, it won't fructify. But it doesn't mean it got destroyed. It remains in the earth, and when the time will come, winter season, again it will manifest. Does it make sense? This is how we fall down also. Because we must have done something bad, and that seed is there, suddenly it comes up. But you must understand, all these bad things or bad karma get destroyed by bhakti. When you chant Hare Krishna, all those things which were supposed to fructify, they won't fructify. Suppose somebody has drink liquor in his previous life or this life or whatever. Now, if he is supposed to drink liquor because of his previous thing, if he chants Hare Krishna, all those things get destroyed. It's not that yesterday question was there, impression is more powerful or desires. See, if you chant Hare Krishna, all the desires are changed as well as the impressions are changed. Impressions just go away. It doesn't come to our consciousness also. Just like I have never heard any student asking me or even myself asking anybody, Prabhuji, when we chant Hare Krishna, we remember film songs. Does any one of you have remember? Prabhuji, humne sune hi nahi. We are so pure devotees right from their childhood. We have never heard any film songs. Is it not? You don't know. I think you don't know what is film also. Is it not? Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's only theory. You have not gone to any cinema. You will not know. No. But it never comes. Does it come? It never comes to my consciousness. Even forgetting the names of the people. I'm just talking, then I may try to remember. It's just very difficult. All the impressions go away. All the desires go away. Bhakti is so powerful. So we are talking in that context. So there is no diminution. Na vidyate. Vidyate means hai hi nahi. It doesn't exist. There is no diminution as bhakti. So this is very encouraging for us. Very encouraging for people whom we are cultivating. Just see how much a person can do at his present stage of consciousness and encourage him to do that. We cannot say, even I become angry when a person is sleeping in japa, but khaite suite yatha tatha naam le. That is also Mahaprabhu's instruction. While eating, while sleeping, you somehow that you chant. My eagerness or my anger is just so that he can make more progress. But actually somehow that is chanting is good. It's actually for Shastric injunction while laughing, Hare Krishna. Even that way he is chanting Hare Krishna. Then also is to be respected. Then what to talk of chanting seriously? Makes sense. That also is the injunction of Shastra. So by sleeping, by joking, somehow somebody is chanting Hare Krishna, he should be respected. Is very glorious. So alpam apya asya dharmasya. Su alpam. Alpam means less. And su alpam means extremely less. Api asya. Asya means this dharmasya. Asya means this. Even if, api means even if this dharma, this bhakti yoga or by Baldev Vidya Bhushan Path, Nishkam Karma Yoga. But we will take bhakti directly because we're just bringing the elements of Nishkam Karma into bhakti, of not desiring material results. So if we do this dharma even little bit, then trayate, it delivers from mahat bhayat. Mahat means great and bhaya means fear. So first thing is that it is so glorious. Now you must understand why Lord is doing it, to create a need, to create a desire to execute Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. When you're hearing this, are you not feeling encouraged? Oh, whatever I can do in this life will be my eternal asset. Even if a person does not go back to Godhead in one life, which is not normally possible, which is also normally possible, normally not possible when Mahaprabhu is there, and normally possible when Mahaprabhu is, what I say, normally not possible when Mahaprabhu is not there, but normally possible when Mahaprabhu is there. Got it? So don't think that we don't have any chance. We have a chance, that we don't worry. But I'm just saying, even if it does not go, he will be delivered from great fear of going to hell or going to lower species of life like that. Fine? For most people in this Kali Yuga, if they cannot go to hell, that will be a great Purushartha. You understand this point? We are so sinful. And if time permits, I'll tell you the stories about how people have been saved from hell. After going to hell, they have been saved by this Swalpa Dharma. Let me just tell the story, then it will encourage you more before I go into this. Really interesting story. There's one devotee in ISKCON who had died earlier. Sabhi to marte hain. You remember that story? Then one person was there in the West and he died. Then he went to Yamaraj. Yamaraj, as you know, is quite dharma nirpeksh. He doesn't consider which dharma you had faith in. He brings to anyone who's sinful. And people eat cow flesh and all those things in West. So then anyhow, Yamaraj is also merciful. He said, did he do anything good in his life? So Chitragupta ji was searching. No, nothing. And one thing, he had waved his hand to the Sankirtan party in appreciating their Kirtan. Said, okay, send him back. It's an actual story, a real life story. Can you imagine this is Swalpa Masya? And we should not doubt it. Ajamil is a famous story. Simply calling out to his son, Narayan, and no awareness that Lord, it is Lord's name, then he got delivered. Just like yesterday in the class, I addressed to Parth Mahajan. He was not the Parth Prabhu who was sitting in front of me. He said, what? He became immediately alert. What? Why are you calling my name? Immediately he becomes, he thought maybe I'll chastise him or something. Why? What was it? I was calling to Parth. So in my consciousness, Parth means the boy who was asking the question. But it looked like I am calling to him. Is it not? And it happened to so many of us. So many times. So this is the potency of the holy name. This is the potency of Bhakti Yoga. If somehow that pay obeisances to Krishna, somehow that you appreciate others chanting Hare Krishna, that person also get delivered. So anyway, so we go forward. It's a beautiful shloka. The Lord praises this Karma Yoga. Now, Baldev Vidyabhushan is explaining Karma Yoga, so we'll explain in context of Karma Yoga. But when Prabhupada explains about Bhakti Yoga, we will map it to Bhakti Yoga. The Lord praises this Karma Yoga executed with the understanding that will be described. How it has to be done, it will be described later on. There is no destruction of its power to give results for a person who begins Abhikrama, starts it, the practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga, Iha, described in the previously quoted Shruti. Tam etam vedanu vachanena brahmana vividishanti yagyena danena tapasa nashakena. This means that there is no lack of results even if the process is started but not completed. Hold on. What is being spoken here is that in this shloka which is quoted from the Shruti, the Brahmana will do all those things which are the duties of a Brahmana, but with the understanding all these activities I am doing for the pleasure of Vishnu. They are not directly bhakti, but they are varnashram activities. Make sense? And all those things could have been done to attain Swarga also. But he will do to get realization of self and offer it to Lord Vishnu. Om Tat Sat, we will discuss in 17th chapter by chanting Om Tat Sat, they become free from the reaction of the karma which is good, or either good or bad, which will accrue by doing all these pious activities. Samajh rahe na is baat? This is how they do Nishkam Karma Yoga. In this process, that means Nishkam Karma Yoga, there are also no negative results for imperfection in chanting mantra or other components, because all negative effects are destroyed by the power of aiming for Atma and by the name of Bhagwan indicated in Om Tat Sat. Beautiful point to be understood. What is the aim of Nishkam Karma Yoga? Self-realization. So Lord is very merciful because this soul now is not desiring sense gratification by his acts of sacrifices. Is it clear? So even if there is some fault in doing that sacrifice, no problem. Still he will make progress. Very good. Now, are you in your mind able to map it to bhakti? When we are doing bhakti to attain love of God, even if there is some mistake in chanting and all those things, if the intention is proper, then no problem. Does it make sense? Map kar pa rahe na? Able to map? Okay. Then we all, and anyhow, with the chant Om Tat Sat, we have heard, we will hear in 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that if there is some fault in pronunciation and all those things, by chanting the name of Lord Vishnu, all those things are covered. Now we must understand that means that pronunciation or mistakes were not intentionally done. Unintentionally we are doing, then it all gets nullified. What I am trying to say, we should not intentionally try to offend or make mistakes and this I'll cover up with chanting Hare Krishna. That is an offensive attitude. We are chanting Hare Krishna, but things are, obviously we tend to make mistakes, so we will make mistakes. But when we chant the holy name of Krishna, everything gets nullified. Now that's quite interesting because our main process is chanting Hare Krishna, then there is no question of mistake. Have you ever thought, we don't have to chant any other mantra but chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So everything else we make mistake, then also gets nullified. That gets crossed. Very nicely, Srivas Thakur tells to Mahaprabhu, simply by chanting your name, my Lord, millions and billions of offenses are nullified. So that's why, very nicely one devotee was explaining, we have to be very careful not to offend the name. He is the most merciful manifestation of the Lord. And that is very, very important how we deal, because the Lord is there in the heart. He is not different from his holy names. He sees how we behave with other people, how we behave with the devotees, how we behave with even those who are not devotees. And he's very sensitive person. Are you able to understand this point? You know that first offense, the most grave offense is blaspheming the Vaishnavas. And seventh is committing sins on the strength of the holy name. So these two are, do you hear very carefully, very encouraging. Jiva Goswami Pad says, if these two offenses are avoided, then other offenses get nullified by chanting again and again. The more you chant again and again, then all these offenses are nullified. But these two offenses, a devotee will have to suffer. So it's better that we don't do these offenses. So our attitude should be, as far as possible, we should not do any sinful activity. But because of our previous svabhav, if some sin is committed, again you come before the Lord and say, my Lord, please give me the strength so that I can say no to Maya. You understand the attitude? Attitude has to be there. Sometimes the devotee will fall to sense gratification. Then he said, oh, my Lord, please help me. I don't want to do all these things. And it's a fact that devotee does not want to do it. Just because of his bad habit, he tends to fall into that. But if he keep on chanting Hare Krishna, not giving up Krishna consciousness, then he will be able to purify his hearts. Okay. Note, these names accompany all auspicious actions. This is described at the end of chapter 17 from verse 23 onwards. We have discussed that the Brahmavadis or transcendentalists, whenever they do any action, spiritual, auspicious action, they will at the end say Om Tat Sat, which Om means Krishna, Tat also means Krishna, and Sat also means Krishna, the name of Lord Vishnu. What it is mentioned there, very interesting, is that when a person chants Om Tat Sat, or the names of Vishnu, by saying Om Tat Sat, you should understand any name of Vishnu, Krishna, Mukund. If it is done without material desire, it produces the desire for liberation. Did you get it? If I chant Hare Krishna, not with the anticipation that I will get material results, I'll become detached from this world. These things may appear very simple to us. But ask, have we ever been informed like this by anyone in our home? This science? No Brahmana. We also meet with some Brahmanas, or sometimes some astrologer will come, but he will only encourage us how we can be materially successful, except if there is a devotee astrologer. But otherwise, can you imagine? They cannot think out of this box of material world. समझना है, इसके बाहर सोच ही नहीं सकते. ओनली वे अ पर्सन कैन बी हैप्पी बाय हैविंग अ वाइफ और wealth or progeny and all that. They cannot think beyond that. Can you think about this? We never meditate on these points. They just cannot think beyond this. So they can't offer you a solution which is beyond this. So only when we hear Bhagavad Gita from the Lord in the parampara, then we can think out of the box of this material world. Make sense? सोच रहे ना अभी भगवान के धाम जाने के लिए, at least we are thinking how we can go back to Godhead. There is no description of Vaikuntha. There is, I mean, not description, but there is no discussion of Vaikuntha or going to Vaikuntha in normal talks. And that's why, you see, if you notice, by hearing such talks, we become inspired to invest our energy in those actions which will bind us to the material world. Enthusiastically, we remain engaged in that actions. Think about hearing this part. Executing even a little of this dharma in the form of Nishkam Karma Yoga offered to the Lord protects the practitioner from samsara. Means taking birth again and again. The Lord will later say, Partha naive hanamutra, O son of Pratha, he does not meet destruction in this life or the next. Partha naive hanamutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyan kritam kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. Something of that sort. A person who is executing dharma, he does not meet destruction here and even in the future life. One more important point, if a person is doing bhakti and has material desires, even if you go to Swarga, his bhakti doesn't get diminished. Bhakti gives those results because he has taken shelter of bhakti, and then he becomes boring. He becomes detached and then he makes further progress by going back to Godhead. This is a very nice point of bhakti. So even a person is executing material desires, executing bhakti with material desires, that also is encouraged. Only thing is the result will come later. That's why its focus is you have knowledge, transcendental knowledge. I do not belong to this place. Why should I chant Hare Krishna for material things? I give an example of myself again, that when I was chanting Hare Krishna, I was reading Srila Prabhupada books, no other devotee association, reading Prabhupada books, and somehow that I understood it's amazing for me. It is actually a miracle for me. Just a new boy, 1 month, how much can you know? I was reading Journey of Self-Discovery and all that. Very nice book by Srila Prabhupada. And I still don't know from which part of Srila Prabhupada's book I understood that one should not approach the Lord with material desires. Still, I don't remember what I read, but I remember when I was praying to Krishna, I was saying, Krishna, I have this desire to get into IIT. You please fulfill that desire. I'll do nice bhakti. Although I know it is not good to ask material things from you. I'm just, right now I can only reflect that it was something mystical and miracle. Are you able to appreciate my point? 1 month, what do you know philosophy? No, I just heard one art of mind control class. They don't discuss these things there. I took a book of Srila Prabhupada, Journey of Self-Discovery. I know because at that time I said it was 35 rupees. I remember now. I said, why should I invest more money in these books? I mean, another devotee bought Bhagavad Gita and I was thinking, this is 110 rupees. I still remember. English Bhagavad Gita, 110 rupees. It's too costly. If it is not good, I'll waste my money. So I purchased the cheap book, 35 rupees. Journey of Self-Discovery. Beautiful book. I remember I had no other book except that when I was praying. And I don't know which chapter I read by which I understood. So this is why I'm saying all this. When we hear Sambandha Gyan, when we hear philosophy, proper philosophy means truth, then we know with what intention I should do bhakti. So I was having a material desires, I was presenting the material desire to Krishna, but in a proper way. Are you understand? My Lord, I'm not able to give up this material desire. You please fulfill that desire. And Krishna fulfilled in a way. After first semester, I want to give up IIT. I wanted to give up IIT. See how much people want to desire to go into IIT. Even after first semester, I wanted to leave, but then devotee said, okay, anyhow, you complete because it might help in preaching services. I don't know how much, but it works like this. So this is very important. If we have a material desire, and we know, obviously by hearing philosophy, it is not good, you offer to Krishna, you, whatever you wish to do. Like that. Or best is to pray to Krishna, Krishna, please remove this desire from my heart. I can peacefully chant Hare Krishna, be a nice devotee. So why I'm saying all those things? That if a person is doing bhakti, even if he has material desires, or most of the people have material desires, then it doesn't mean his bhakti will get diminished. Ideal is to offer Krishna Nishkam Bhakti. Then you make fast, very fast progress. Okay. O son of Pritha, he does not meet destruction in this life or the next. Just like when a person who does karma kanda, he goes to Swarga and then what? Shine punne marte lokam vishanti. It goes, comes down like that. And then the difficulty is when he comes down, he has impressions of enjoyment he has done in Swarga, which again become revived, and again he will do activities to again get Swarga and then come back in. Go up, down like this. Not come out of it. Very interesting. One who has done the auspicious work of yoga does not meet an unfortunate end, O my son. Nahi kalyan kritam kaschit durgatim tat gachati. बहुत सुंदर से जिसने कल्याण के कार्य किए हैं उसकी दुर्गति कभी नहीं. I mean, I feel hair standing on man. If you meditate on this point, Krishna himself is assuring anybody who has done bhakti and yoga, he उसका कभी दुर्गति नहीं हो सकता. He can never meet a bad end. He can never go to hell. Never ever. Duties executed with desire, sakam karma, yield results only if I will say this a little nice point. My granny means nani, my mother of my mother. She was a devotee. She was chanting, not initiated, but chanting so many rounds, Hare Krishna mantra, offering food, reading Bhagavatam. So when she was about to leave the body, my uncle became emotional. Oh, my mother will she be, Durgati to nahi hogi inki. Will she meet a bad end? And she left her body in Vrindavan. What more can be there, is it not? Never ever, never anybody who's chanting Hare Krishna, provided he doesn't offend Vaishnavas. You must be very careful. Intentionally do not offend Vaishnava. What does it mean? Somebody is here very carefully. Somebody is doing his service and we intentionally, out of enviousness, disrupt his service. That is very grave offense. Somebody is doing nice service or is a nice Vaishnava and we purposefully criticize him. I hope none of the devotees is doing it. No, I don't think you're doing it. But I'm just saying, you don't even have an opportunity. Prabhuji, भक्त मिले तब तो निंदा करे. मौका ही नहीं मिल रहा है. मौका तो दीजिए, आप फिर दिखाते हैं हम आपको. No. We should not criticize devotees. Even if they have some loose ends, so to speak, because of their behavior, because of their conditioning, you must remember it's their conditioned nature which is getting manifest. We should try to develop that vision. If we are not their authorities, we should not criticize them. There are so many people doing so much wrong, is it not? We can't just get fixed up in that duality. So, okay. Duties executed with desire of sakam karma yield results only if executed to the conclusion with all ceremonies intact. This is understood? We are doing something karma kanda, it will only bear fruit properly if everything is done nicely. However, if some of the elements such as the mantras are defective or absent, then contrary results appear. That means desired material results do not appear. I give an example. One person name was Twastra, I believe, or his father name was Twastra. No, Twastra's son was there. Vishwarup, yeah. Vishwarup was the son of Twastra. So Twastra was a Brahmana and from the demon side, and from the demigod side. I'm forgetting the name, but just remember Twastra. Twastra had a son named Vishwarupa. He was a nice Brahmana and he has 3 heads. He's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was offering, he gave the Narayan Kavach to Indra, and by that Narayan Kavach, Indra could conquer the demons. So he was obliged to him. He was accepted as the spiritual master of Indra because Brihaspati had left Indra because Indra had offended Brihaspati. Okay. So now what happened? This person's, if I remember correctly, from the mother side, he was associated with the demon. His mother was from the demon family. So he also had affection for asuras. So when he was giving oblations to the fire, one side he was giving to demigods, and on the back side, in a slight way, and slightly, he was giving to the asuras also. When Indra came there, he became very angry, and he cut his throat. Not cut his throat, gardan cut his neck off. Then Twastra became very angry. He said, you see, this Vishwarup helped him to gain Swarga, and he killed my son. So then he said he did another yajna in which he was supposed to pronounce Indraha. That means a person who has to be a killer of Indra. But he mispronounced it and it came out to be whose enemy is Indra. He is not the enemy of Indra, or he is not the killer of Indra. That person's killer will be Indra. So the contrary ho gaya na, just opposite result came out. That was Vritasur. Vritasur could not kill Indra. He was killed by Indra. So this is an example I am giving here that how in Karma Kanda if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. But actions performed without desire, Nishkam Karma, to the best of one's ability, perhaps not completed and with defective or missing elements, yield the results in the form of steadiness in Gyan. This Nishkam Karma Yoga person will lead into Gyan. That Gyan means he will realize he remains fixed, that I am soul, and his material desires will diminish. You must remember this point. What is the meaning of not being steady in Gyan? I'll explain this. I know that I am soul, but then I am aspiring for a career in material life. So is it called a steadiness in Gyan? So if I am soul, why should I aspire for a material career? Now if a person, hear this very carefully, I am not criticizing this thing, very important point. So now if a person has those material desires to get to know little bit better, or he cannot immediately give up the material world, so he should act. While acting in whatever way he wants, then the fruits of his action should be offered to Krishna. Then slowly his heart will become purified and then he become peaceful. Then he can peacefully meditate on Krishna like that. You remember one time you were saying, Prabhuji, you are talking about Vairagi, but I am not able to understand that. Did I become angry? No. It's just that level of consciousness we have that we have to act in that way. So if we keep on practicing, then we understand that it was useless. Why did not accept it before? One brahmachari of our ashram, I think he got married in maybe, 6 years back or 7, 8 years back, I don't know. So now he was sitting next to me yesterday, say, Prabhuji, now I'm realizing chanting japa was very, very important. Quite good. He's a grahastha. I don't know how much happy he is there, but he says, now I understand that chanting Hare Krishna solves all the problems. So at that time also he heard about chanting Hare Krishna, but he could not understand it. This is my personal experience. I was telling the same instruction of Hare Krishna mantra to one of my friend, brahmachari. He could not get it. He just could not get it. When he got married and all these things, now he wakes up at 2 o'clock and chants Hare Krishna. So it's just amazing how if you give the instruction, if a person's consciousness is not fully clear, he can't accept it. So okay, no problem. So let him do whatever he needs to do at his level of consciousness. Are you able to get this point? So Nishkam Karma Yoga doesn't expect a person's heart has to be purified. The heart gets purified by executing the actions, but with an attitude of not expecting the results. But Jnana Yoga expects that a person's heart has to be purified. He should not be having material desires. Because as soon as material desires are there, he cannot meditate on whatever, Brahman or whatever he wants to meditate on. I hope it's getting clear. And because the process has the goal of Atma and includes utterance of the name of the Lord, no sin is incurred. So then, because we have learned this, if actions are done with material desires, there is sin involved. But if there is the actions are done with the desire for liberation, that means the desire to realize the self, then there is no sin. And obviously, as we have mentioned here, Om Tat Sat, they will do some auspicious activity, whatever they are doing, Yagyatan, Tapasya, but they will chant the holy name of Vishnu. So even if there is some possibility of any sin, that gets nullified by chanting Hare Krishna. So again, it is not intentional sin. Anything which some mistake, kuch galti ho gayi, it will get nullified by chanting Hare Krishna. It will get covered up by chanting Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada will talk about bhakti, and we will like to also focus on bhakti. Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. So you see, Srila Prabhupada has very nicely mapped Nishkam Karma Yoga elements into bhakti, which is actually the nature of bhakti. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttama. So a person does bhakti with his senses. You must remember, it's not simply a matter of meditation. we do something. We chant Hare Krishna. Now I'm speaking Bhagavad Gita. Devotees are hearing it. By our eyes, we are looking at the text. Is it not? We are doing something with our senses. And that is called Anushilanam. By our body, by our mind and words, we do practice. We practice. We keep on practicing. We do something for Krishna. Anu means constantly practicing. Annabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi navratam anukulena krishnanushilanam. Krishnanushilanam. So that Krishna becomes pleased. And anukulya means with a desire to please Krishna. Krishna also means a spiritual master. Krishna also means Vishnu forms of Krishna, and Krishna also means Krishna. So with this attitude, when a person is executing bhakti without any desire for material gain, anyabhilashita, it doesn't mean he does not have any desire. He has a desire to attain love of God. But except that desire, except that aspiration, he has no other aspiration. And Jnana Karmadi Navritam, he does not mix his bhakti with Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga. He takes shelter of Jnana or Ashtanga Yoga. He takes shelter of bhakti only. By bhakti only I'll become perfect. That is the mind. By bhakti only I'll become perfect, and bhakti is my perfection. By sadhana bhakti only I'll get prema bhakti, and that's what I want. Simple shabda mein kaha jaye. So now if you understand this, that's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. A devotee acts for Krishna, for the benefit of Krishna, without expecting that he will get something in return. This point has been coming again and again at discussion, and this is how we should chant Hare Krishna, pay obeisance to Krishna, take prasadam. Anything a devotee should do, we should with the attitude that Krishna be pleased with me and awaken my love for him. Itna. Case closed. That is Prabhupada say highest transcendental quality of work. So it doesn't matter what you are doing, but with what attitude a person is doing. We can grow tulsi so that Krishna becomes pleased. We can do so many activities. And see, this is very nice because all of us can't do only one. All of us can do so many activities differently. But if it's done with proper attitude, we are all on the same platform. Make sense to you? Okay. I give a simple example. Gudanarama Prabhu, I've given this example many times. He was counting cement bags and he was doubt. He was also chanting Hare Krishna as regular rounds. So he asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, others are chanting Hare Krishna. I'm counting cement bags. What should I do? Prabhupada said, yes, this is pure devotional service. Why pure devotional service? Because this was for the construction of the ISKCON Vrindavan temple. तो क्या सेवा है क्या नहीं सेवा थोड़ा समझ लेना चाहिए. What is service and what is not service, one must understand. If it is for the benefit of Krishna, then it is very good. So in that way, we should try to engage our energies when we are serving Krishna. Suppose Prabhuji is maintaining this online book distribution thing. So who will get the benefit by distribution of Bhagavad Gita? Krishna will get the benefit. It is for Krishna's benefit. Not that we become in any way take any kind of benefit. That is a real benefit. Let Krishna's glories be spread and everybody know about Krishna. That's what a devotee wants. Now, naturally, when you glorify Krishna and the more and more people will know about Krishna, then they will know who has glorified Krishna and they will know you also. That's a byproduct. But that's not our main thing. That's not why we should glorify Krishna, so that people will know, he has glorified Krishna. Are you able to understand? We glorify Krishna because Krishna becomes pleased. Krishna should be pleased by that. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. It's a very important point. I've seen so many times how devotees who have practiced bhakti seriously in any stage of their life, if they are not able to practice at some point of time, they always remember that. Our Sarvesh Prabhu is having that fracture in his knee, and he is very much sad because he was saying, I'm not able to complete my rounds now. I'm not able to hear properly because there is so much pain. I'm like, don't worry, after one week, it will all come down. But it's like, now this shows how much taste he already has. Is it not? Just like I'm giving a wrong example, like materialistic people, when they lose their movie and all those things. Oh, I could not watch this movie. Ye serial shoot gaya, like this. They have so much taste for these things. That's why they lament. अरे यार वो feast रह गया, I could not eat that, I could not eating, mating, sleeping, defending, I could not get that, I could not get that. This same lamentation, if it's happening in the heart of a devotee, this shows the exalted nature of a devotee. I was explaining to him, you are not able to do bhakti. This shows how, and you are sad because of that. So this shows you have taste for bhakti. And you can also see, don't try it in your home, but you can try to wake up at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then you will realize how miserable we become. Don't try it, but you can understand. Very, like I remember on one of the Janmashtami days, I slept at 2 a.m. and then woke up around 6:30 also. It was miserable like anything. Even that last time I had fever, oh, miserable, 7 a.m. It's like, so bad, so bad. So it may appear, I mean, today, I woke up at 10 minutes before 3. And I said, I was convincing my mind, sleep at least 10 minutes more. Just like we develop a taste for that, waking up early in the morning. This is so pleasurable, like this. So very nice. And so much happiness when we read and discuss Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So tasty, is it not? So tasty. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. As soon as Radha Govind Maharaj explains it very nicely. Suppose you have boarded on a flight to America, and if the flight goes down into the sea in between, will you say at least half stage we have completed? Will it work? When we give our examinations, suppose I have this dream sometimes, that I have returned to home after first year from IIT. Dream. Then again I'm trying to go to IIT and say, please admit me in second year. Will it work? I was working in NTPC. I gave up the job without resigning. So basically, I did not resign actually. So can I go now? No, Krishna, I don't want to. But I'm just saying, suppose I can go. Above, I did not resign. I just did not complete the training. Will you take me back? What did you say? No. Finish. Get out. But will that happen with a devotee too? If a devotee does not complete his training, and then he comes back to Krishna again, what does Krishna say? Okay, continue from where he left. That is advantage of Krishna consciousness. Think about it. Where should we invest our energy? So this is one of the most beautiful slokas. Where should you invest energy? Whatever we do in this life, practically everything is lost. Okay, Milind, Prabhu, last life, did you know how to play violin? I don't know. I don't. Is it not? Yes, we don't know, violent or not violent or what we were. Is it not? Everything is lost. But definitely all of you have done some bhakti in previous life. That is why it is carrying over in this life. I mean, I don't know how much it is true. One astrologer, very nice astrologer, told me, I died in a Goshala last life. It's interesting, after doing all this IIT thing, the first service which I got in temple was Goshala, and I was still serving in Goshala. Maybe it carries over, who knows what we do. It actually carries over also. Prabhupada told about one person who was some singer or something. He said that to sing like this, he spent 7 lives practicing that. It actually carries over, don't like. Anyways, but any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. So one should, again, the performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. And even if there is 100% success, is it any success? Because mrityu sarva haras chaha, finished. Everything will be taken away by death. Again and again, I'm repeating, make your adjustment in your life so that you have sufficient money to maintain yourself if you're not joining ashram, means in a male body, and so that you have exclusive time to do bhakti as much as possible. And also, when we have free time, we should never waste our time. Read Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna. Our mind says, no, ho gaya na 16 mala. 16 rounds are done. Why should you chant more? Never. This is a very rare opportunity which has been given to us. This human form of life and association of devotees and an Indian body. Suppose if you have to go from one point to another point, and if you have a cycle, very difficult. maybe little bit motorcycle, maybe better. Or if you have a tractor, it's very slow. But if you have a Jaguar, fuck, बहुत जल्दी से पहुंच जाएंगे, तुरंत पहुंच जाएंगे, फटाफट पहुंच जाएंगे. So now, just imagine that this Indian body is so suitable for tapasya. It's just so easy for devotees to chant 16 rounds. I'm seeing one devotee, I gave the mala by mail. He did not even have mala. Our Subhajit Nayak Prabhu. And he chants Hare Krishna 16 rounds, maybe more. It's amazing, is it not? Without meeting anyone. Even one Mataji who never came to our any program when I was not preaching online. Her husband used to come. Husband began chanting Hare Krishna. Husband did not know much philosophy. Just seeing the husband, she started chanting 16 rounds. This is the beauty of being born as an Indian, especially. Although bhakti can be done by anybody, but we are really, this body, this especially Indian body, is designed for tapasya. Any human body is designed for tapasya, but particularly this Indian body. Very easy. From the beginning of our life, we are given some concept of tapasya, some brata, something like that. Is it not? Like one Mataji told me, Madhu Mataji, जप में तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं हुई हमको कभी. Chanting Hare Krishna japa was never a problem for me. I was so happy to hear that. She's from Rajasthan. Pious, natural. Hare कोई दिक्कत नहीं. Like that. Okay. But many people find very difficult to chant japa. Some of their beads are so difficult. Maybe whatever, thorny or something like that. So, Ajamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. Think about this. What does it mean? He was somehow other chanting Narayan, Narayan. But what is the perfection of life at the end? You can remember Krishna. Is it not? He did not even pick up mala and chant Narayan. Now this makes me angry also. One devotee told me, I was chanting on that day on counter, my extra rounds. And he came to me, this won't be counted. And then I did not react. I internally said, I am not asking you to count. Krishna is counting, is it not? I am not. You make, this is a strange fellow. From where, how can you say this? I am not asking you to count my rounds. I am chanting by counter. Who are you to count my rounds? What is your business to count my rounds? Krishna is counting, is it not? Lord Narayan was counting how many times this person is chanting Narayan. It's amazing. Prabhupada says in one of the lectures in this section, he says, Lord Narayan said, I know this fellow is a rascal, but anyhow he's chanting my name, so I must deliver him. This should be our constant point of remembrance. I have no taste for chanting or taste for chanting. I don't care. But when I chant Hare Krishna, my mind is not on Krishna, but Krishna's mind is on me. I remember my sister's daughter was outside playing. As soon as she cried, my sister was talking to me. Some important point. As soon as the child cried, hey, why my child is crying? Immediately she had left everything and then she went to attend to her child. Madiyo ayam sarvadha mada rakshaniyo. This person belongs to me and it is my duty to give him protection. It is my duty and Lord never ever gives up his duty. Just make sure we don't offend Vaishnavas. On top of it, if we can please Vaishnavas, oh my God, how much mercy will come? How much mercy will come? Make sense to you? Full, unbound mercy will come by pleasing the devotees. And very amazing point. Very amazing point. There is Ajamilo Api. This is how Ajamilo Api. Even if a person like Ajamil got delivered by chanting Harinam. I was just reflecting on this point, how we have now started this Brazilian chanting session. And obviously japa becomes very easy. Now if they see the Indian devotees chanting enthusiastically, oh, how nice they are chanting. Just like we become enthused by seeing Chinese people having a very nice technology. Americans having very nice technology. So when they say, oh, these Indians are chanting very nicely. So that and will you be having any difficulty if you chant extra rounds? Normally, it's not that sometimes on our phone we talk about for 1 hour with one person, we waste our time. वो भी convince नहीं होता, हम भी time बर्बाद हो जाता है, is it not? And our mind says, no, you have chanted 16 rounds, you cannot chant extra rounds. No, you should not chant extra rounds. Why not? Make as much endeavor as possible. As much as possible. And even 2 or 3 souls. Just imagine, in Bhagavatam, there is a description of Ajamil who was saved by 4 Vishnudutas. So, 1 person got delivered is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Are you able to understand this point? So we should help each and every person how he can chant more and more Hare Krishna mantra, how he can connect to Bhagavad Gita, how he can take prasadam. That should be very clear. Clearly, whenever you preach to somebody, make sure you convince him to chant Hare Krishna, convince him to take prasadam, and if possible, hear Bhagavad Gita. This is the three principal things. Person becomes convinced. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, but hear about Krishna. Hear about Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and take prasadam. These three things, if we can do, you will make very fast progress. Whenever you are preaching to somebody, you have to sell these three products. Is it not? Any marketing person will think about it. No, this is my product. I must sell these things. A gold merchant will not sell milk to a person. Okay. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam. Very nice. Why Prabhupada is quoting? Hey, somebody may say, but if he gives up his own dharma and then takes shelter of bhakti, will he not fall down? He quotes this. Please chant with me or after me. Tyaktva swadharmam charnambujam harer bhajanna pakvotha pate tato yadi yatra kvava badram abhudamushyakim ko vartha apto bhajatam swadharmatah. Beautiful shloka. You should remember this. Tyaktva swadharmam. A person who gives up his swadharma, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, whatever. And charnambujam hare. Charan ambuj. Charan means feet and ambuj means lotus. Harer. He takes shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Means he takes shelter, exclusive shelter of bhakti. Bhajan apakvoth pate tato yadi. If his bhajan, if his devotional service is not mature, he has material desires or because of bad association, he falls down. Yatra qua abhadram, qua va abhadram. What abhadra has come to him? Answer is nothing. You know rhetorical questions? The answer to that question is in the question itself. Yatra qua va abhadram, qua va. What loss we had? Abhud amushyakim. Abhud means happened. Amushyakim. What kind of loss he had? That means he had no loss. Now, kova. Again, kova artha apta. Apta means he gained. Prapta, apta. Kovartha apta bhajatam swadharmatah. What benefit a person gets by doing swadharma? Very nicely. A beautiful revolutionary statement by Rajmi. Again look at the shloka. Giving up one's swadharma, if one takes shelter of Bhakti Devi, by taking shelter of Lord Hari's lotus feet, even if he falls down, it's not that everybody who takes shelter of Lord Vishnu by giving up swadharma falls down. That is indicated by the word yadi. हर किसी का पतन नहीं होता है. If a person gives up swadharma and takes shelter of Lord Hari, it's not that he will fall down. In case he falls down, can you understand the point? It's also kamittinai. If he falls down and still there is no loss, then what to talk of a person who does not fall down? समझ में आ रहा है ना? Beautiful shloka. This must be remembered. So now, pate tato yadi. Yadi indicates there is a possibility. Maybe he falls down. And Prabhupada explains because of bad association. So one should be very careful to not associate with materialistic people. But then also, yatra kvava badram, what harm he had got? You know why he's saying like that? It's a mysterious thing. Nothing we do in this world can give rise to bhakti. We have been discussing that. And only bhakti sanskars can give rise to bhakti. That also you understand. And bhakti sanskar can never be destroyed. Three things you understand. So a person is doing swadharma but not associating with devotees, not doing devotional service, he will never come to bhakti. Because he has no seed of bhakti. But somehow or other, by the mercy of the Lord, by mercy of association of devotees, if he has got some seed of bhakti, kuch sanskar, some impression of bhakti, that will fructify into further bhakti. One name of Krishna destroys avidya also. But it is the nature of the name that it will manifest the result after some time, just like a fig tree only manifests the results of fruits after some time only. So a devotee takes birth not because of karma, but so that the fruits of bhakti will become manifest in his life. That much only. So powerful bhakti is. ये इधर गिर गया ये भक्त कोई दिक्कत नहीं गिरा again if he has fallen down in this life maybe in this life or next life he'll again come back to bhakti and we are all examples of that only. I mean, I don't know, but that astrologer told me, I'm not want to glorify myself, but I don't know what is my past, but he told me that I was not supposed to take birth, but I did something sinful, then that's why I had to take birth again. So if that is true, I myself is an example. And don't want to say, but I'm quite enthusiastic, is it not? I mean, now I'm not saying everybody is enthusiastic. I'm seeing so many my colleagues, they are dropping out from bhakti in this life. And some of my students are dropping out, and some of the students are not dropping out. So you see, everybody is not carrying the same intensity of bhakti in this life because that is their carryover from their previous life. I am not, please, I'm not saying that I'm proud of this. I'm just saying I'm fortunate in that way. And I think it's with all of you. I'm seeing so many devotees who never gave up bhakti. The ones chanting karna shuru karte, chanting karte. And even if you have given up chanting in some point of life, again, this shloka is to make you rise again. Chant Hare Krishna. Yes, nothing is lost. Sometimes devotees lament, Arey Baba, I left, so I lost so much time, I did not chant. Now you're losing more time. Now you're losing more time. Don't lose time. Chant Hare Krishna. What is this? Oh, somebody is putting so many messages, huh? One second. Okay, hold on. Now he cannot put anything. Now he won't be able to chat with anybody. Fine? Anyhow, the audio must not be disturbed. Messages must be coming. Fine, no problem. We'll just finish anyhow. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part, and what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? So, when I clear. Or as the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gain the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? समझ गए इसका मतलब? I have done all those things, but I have not made advancement in spiritual life. Everything is wasted. Material activities and their result end with the body. Clear? But work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next body of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family. That will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Two possibilities are there. Either a person will be born in the family of a Brahmana, or he will be born as, oh, acha, now I understand what is this. I don't know how that fellow is come. Okay. What is this? Maybe I should not share the Zoom link, is it not?
That person joined from YouTube.
Anyways, I removed them. So this is how it is to be there. That person becomes, they're mostly from Brazil, it seems. Like, fine. Okay, we can tolerate that a little bit. So idea is very clear now. So that anything what we do in bhakti is to our eternal credit. So a person should always focus as much as possible to execute bhakti and give up his attachment for getting material benefits. Any questions from your side? Yes, bro.
Yesterday, I just want to complete the question.
Yes.
Once we are doing bhakti,
Once we are doing bhakti,
and we just let in between, we will just go for heaven. And from our desire, we can just come. We have to again take the birth in human life, and then we can liberate.
yes. Okay, a good question. That when we do bhakti, we may go to heaven. Then do we have to necessarily come back to the earth and then continue bhakti, or can we do bhakti in heavenly planets also? It is also possible. We have examples that Prabhupada explains that. Prabhupada explains that that how a person who goes to heaven, he may come back again here, and then he can execute bhakti. He can also execute bhakti in heaven and go upward, and then go back to Godhead. It's called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti. As example is given, a person is going back to Godhead, but then he thinks, oh, anyhow, I'm going back to Godhead. Let me see what is there in heavenly planets. Seeing means let me try to enjoy what is there. Not really in the sense of a sense gratifier, but see what is happening there. So then he does enjoy, then he becomes disillusioned with that, and then he goes further, and then goes further, and goes further. Like that.
Means even like we can directly go to Goloka and
We can directly go to spiritual world also, and then there is also a possibility called Krama Mukti, which will happen in second canto. One by one, he goes. It's also described in Brihata Bhagavatamrit. The problem what will happen is a person, if he hears here, there is no point in going to heavenly planets, he won't aspire for it. Then he can go back to Godhead directly. But when a person is actually not knowing about it, then he will aspire for material things by chanting Hare Krishna or other things like that. Okay? You have anybody has any question here? I'll allow you to chat. 1 second. Only with me. Host only. Yes, my dear Prabhu. You want to chat or you want to say something? I don't know. Okay. People are I have to do something about it. We have to stop this. They are not aware of what they are doing. Okay. King Nriga's story also go here with Sakam Karma. King Nriga, it is not very clear what kind of a devotee he was, but he had a fruity mentality, because you see, when he went in front of Yamaraj and Yamaraj said, you want to enjoy the result of your good activities first or bad activities first? Then he said, let me enjoy first bad activities and then I'll enjoy good activities. So in that context, we can understand he had a fruity mentality in his mind. He was not really a pure devotee, but you must remember, while he was doing this charity, one devotee came to him and he said, you make a temple of Krishna and where I will put Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So then that person blessed him that you will have darshan of the Supreme Lord one day. So it was by doing such things, actions, if they somehow other serve a devotee accidentally, whatever, then they get mercy of Krishna. Okay. If a person does not complete bhakti in this life, he will get chance to complete it in next birth. But is it guaranteed that it will be immediate next birth, or it can be any other birth? Next birth is as per Karm Bandhan. You see, if he has performed bhakti for a long time and he's not fallen, but his body drops off, immediately gets a devotee body. And at all, there are many things are there in that. What was his desire? What was the strength of his bhakti? All those things have to be there. But as per the Lord's simple principle, that he will be rewarded bhakti. I mean, he will get an opportunity to do bhakti. It all depends, what kind of fall down also is there. If I have committed an offense to a Vaishnava, my bhakti might get covered for a very long time. There can be many reasons, for falling down. The fall downs are not same in all the contexts. So that you have to see. But if it is just simply because of material desires or something like that, or just falls out of ignorance like that, then Krishna will take care. One should always remember, Krishna will, these things we cannot really pin, what will happen to one person or another person. Also, our attitude should not be, next life I'll go back to Godhead. Our attitude should be as much as possible. Prabhupada has given us this facility, 16 rounds and 4 regulative principles. You follow as strictly as possible, so that I can go back in this life only. Make sense? Like that. Any other questions? Now there are nobody to disturb us for now. Any other questions? I'll allow you to unmute, or you can type if typing was there. Yes, Prabhu. Shashikant Prabhu, you can unmute yourself and ask. Are you hungry? Why there is echo? Are you joining by? No, you have joined by 2 phones. 1 second, hold on. Yes. Now you speak, Prabhuji. No, you have to join audio. Anyhow. Okay, ask tomorrow, no problem. You have anybody else has a question Fine. So do you think this shloka was encouraging to you? Yeah, this is very good shloka. So you please never give up bhakti. And also never give up association of Vaishnavas. Then we will not give up bhakti. My Guru. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yes. I can hear you. Yes. Now you have. Please speak. हाँ बोलिए प्रो जी बोलिए. I know Hare Krishna. I know. Yes, I can hear you. Now you speak. I can hear. Oh no. Anyhow, anybody else has a question? I can hear you. You can't hear me. Okay. Anyhow, you ask me question. Ask the question on phone. Okay. Monica Mataji, you had some question? Yes. Yes. Please go ahead. Yes, Mataji. हाँ. आई डिड नॉट गेट योर क्वेश्चन. इफ वो वैकुंठ जाना चाहता है, गोलोक जाना चाहता है, नहीं जाना चाहता है, क्या सुना? फिर से बोलिए. Okay. You see, Mataji's question is, what if a devotee does not want to go to Goloka and Vaikuntha and wants to take birth again to serve Krishna? See, you must understand, in Goloka, will you not serve Krishna? That's a point, is it not? In Goloka, will a person not get an opportunity to serve Krishna?
Only get the
We will only serve Krishna, and this body which gives so much impediment in doing bhakti will also not be there. We get a spiritual body. So devotee aspires to serve Krishna, but he does not want to go to Goloka just to avoid his suffering. He wants to go to Golok to serve Krishna. That is what is go back home, back to Godhead. You please read 11.55 Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Now he can only chat with me. I have no problem. You keep on chatting, no problem. Some person is there who's doing this kind of things. So okay. Let me just remove him. Finally. Yes. Okay. So anything else? No. So we shall stop here. We have to do something about this. He just kind of looping. He is just putting so many messages to give us trouble. So we'll not give Zoom link later on, because in the morning people don't wake up. Now by this time they are waking up. Fine. We should stop here now.